Wrist Check Podcast, episode 25.
Yep.
The gang is back together again. This time it's just us. This episode is special, but before we get into that, let's introduce ourselves. For those who are listening, my name is Perry.
I'm Ben.
And there we go.
And I'm Rashawn.
And we make up Wrist Check Podcast. This is episode 25.
25.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Been in front of this thing 25 times.
We in too deep.
Yeah, facts.
No going back.
This episode is a special one, something we've never done before. We fielded a bunch of questions via social media. And this episode is dedicated to our viewers and our listeners. And we're going to answer some questions tonight. So this episode is called 21 Questions, though it may be more or less, depending on how much time we take to get through these. But before that, we've got to have our honorary wrist check. So, the man who never repeats a watch.
That's why you looked at
it's
me
only
like that.
It's only appropriate that we start with you. So, Rashawn Smith, what do you have for us today, sir?
Oh man, I feel like this season definitely has highlighted that I don't repeat a watch.
You did that to yourself.
Yeah, you did. You put the pressure on.
So of course, I feel like Mike Jordan wearing the 4-5, coming back and doing it again. I am rocking the Diving Star 600T Doxa.
Respect.
This one is actually really cool, and our good friend Ram would approve.
Especially
Ram would
because you've been
definitely
talking
approve.
about buying one since
You've been talking about Doxa for a minute.
So I have been talking about Doxa for a minute. At first I was talking about the 300 Caribbean dial. But I felt like, the Caribbean's cool, but I needed something spicy.
Okay.
I mean, so what not in the summer, New York City summer than to have like a yellow watch.
Sure.
So I went with the Diving Star. The name is cool too. It's very vibrant. It's very legible. I can't wait to take this on vacations and go swimming and really purpose this thing. Also, too, wanted to keep it to the true essence of the steel bezel. Mm-hmm. The ceramic is aesthetically pleasing.
I like the steel more.
But
I think the steel is nicer to look at.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, the steel is pretty nice to look at. I'm stoked. I'm excited that I actually, I have acquired this piece and just look to make so many.
Ram will be praising the heavens when he hears this.
Yes.
He's going to be very happy.
Well, no, the funniest thing is, like, when I acquired this, I told him.
Oh, you messed up.
Oh, nice.
I was like, I sent him a text and I was like, proud new owner of a Doxa.
What'd he say?
And he, like, lost it.
Yeah.
They call you that.
Funny enough, so he owns this same piece, but he has
the yellow?
He has the Diving Star, but he's got the ceramic.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have that's the steel bezel.
That's the steel bezel.
I actually prefer the steel.
Yeah, we unanimous
I think it's
on
cleaner.
that.
Yeah,
It is cleaner.
just design-wise, but I'm not mad at the ceramic. But I prefer the steel on that one.
Yeah,
It's good.
This is amazing.
The yellow is nice, man. It's super legible. Still feels like Key West to me. Makes me very happy. I can't wait to own a Doxa. I am after. I'm probably gonna get the 300 professional.
Yeah.
On the bracelet.
Do
But
it.
that's exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you. Everybody talks about the thickness. It is
Ain't
thick.
that bad.
But it's not bad. I was gonna say it's not bad.
As Dime Piece would say, that is the thick boy.
Yes. Shout out to Bryn.
Shout out to Brent.
Yeah.
Mr. Ben, what do you have for us?
I'm wearing the Clemente Oris.
Respect.
I wore it last week for the first time in a while.
And
And
it looks good, man.
I had
looks
a
great.
pretty good, lucky day.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna wear
Let's
it again.
repeat that.
And I've had a good day today, so I can't complain.
Respect. The strap looks
The
good,
straps
man.
aged
It's
so
patina.
much.
It's aged so
patina
much.
very nicely.
Crazy.
And you can even see on the opposite side
Yeah.
that it's still aging and it's still a little bit more, patina that's got to go
that's
through.
not the side that you touch enough, because it's not the side that you loop through the
Exactly.
the keeper and the buckle and all that
The
stuff. But it's
patina
getting there.
on the strap makes the watch that much more appealing.
Oh, yes, it does.
It looks really, really nice.
Yeah,
the contrast
really makes it unique. It makes it my watch.
it's tight, man.
There's no
I
other
really
Clemente
like
this.
that. It's nice.
Shout out to VJ again.
Shout out to VJ.
Shout
We're gonna
out to
see him
VJ.
soon.
Yes,
They're
definitely.
having an event in New York City. We'll be part of. So very
Looking forward
excited
to
to
that.
attend. Can't wait. It's later this month. I'm doing something I've never done before. Repeating a watch back-to-back episodes. I am still wearing the Rolex Daytona with the ceramic dial, the 116-500 LN. I haven't taken it off. I've been wearing it for a week straight. I'm not a big Daytona dude.
You are now.
I think I am now. So the reason why, it's not necessarily because it is a Daytona, but what I've realized is the reason why I keep going back to this watch and I'm wearing it so much, the proportions. It feels like a vintage Rolex
Feels like a vintage Rolex that you can wear every single day.
that you can wear and not think about it. And I will admit, I know we give Rolex a lot of flack. It's nice to wear Rolex every day and not think about it being a Rolex.
Yeah.
There's something to that.
Yeah.
Especially with in the black dial, though it's obviously it's not the one that's the most sought after. Everyone wants the white dial.
Yeah.
That's also what makes it kind of appealing because it goes under the radar.
Yeah.
Like I can kind of wear this around and like it's sort of like if you know, you know.
I love when it peeks out the wrist. Like when you wear it and it comes out your wrist, it's like,
Yeah.
that's a flex.
It's nice. It's nice. I'm not gonna lie, it's nice. And but the proportions are really what do it for me. It's a very modest case size in thickness and case width, the lug to lug. It feels and wears like a vintage Rolex.
Yes.
Which I think is key to the Daytona. It hasn't
Really
changed.
changed.
It hasn't really changed.
And it just it feels nice. It's understated, but it still is what it is. You know, if you see it, it's a Daytona.
It's a Daytona.
You know what I'm saying? But I am really enjoying this. I've been wearing this for about a week, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. Really, really enjoying this. So, shout out to John, Wrist & Co. This is his watch, and he's let me take it for a spin, and very, very appreciative. This is quite an experience. I'm enjoying it.
Shout out to John John.
Shout out to John John.
Shout out to John John.
So, we got some questions to answer. Let's dive right into it. Well, before that, actually, I want to give a shout out to one of our followers and supporters, a gentleman named Tom, who started a company called Hercali. Tom sent us this awesome watch case.
It's good.
It's very nice.
Very nice.
Open it up. Pretty sick. So thank you, John. John just started this company, Hercali. This is one of their first samples, and it's quite nice. I will definitely be using this. John, the guys are a little upset at me because there's 3 of us, and there's only one of these.
case.
Only one case.
So we got to figure that out. But
Yeah,
what am I supposed to do with my 25 watches?
the case is premium. It's nice. This one in particular will hold 3 watches, and you can take the pieces out. Really, really cool.
Yeah,
Very
snap right into
appreciative.
place. It's
Snap
good.
right into place. Super convenient. It's ultimate travel case. If you're going on an extended vacation, you want to take a couple of pieces with you. So, shout out to Tom for that, and Ben and Rashawn will be waiting for their 2 in the mail. So shout out to Hercali, and hopefully we can have you on the show soon. Send us some more stuff, and we'll do some reviews and maybe even some videos for social. So shout out to Hercali. Now, 21 questions.
Yes.
Let's do it. So the first question comes from Jacket Required on Instagram. And we got some good questions tonight.
Really good question.
We got some good questions.
Yeah, we ran the gambit on this.
We
got all
did.
kinds of
This
questions.
idea actually came from one of our supporters.
Yeah, from John Tam.
So shout out to John. But getting right into it. So Jacket Required, he asked, What was your first watch purchase and why? Do either of you guys remember?
I remember.
What was your first watch purchase?
A black and green G-Shock.
Respect.
Yeah.
I was
Do you remember which
14.
model?
I don't actually.
Okay.
But it was the one we were all wearing in high school.
Mm,
We can all visualize it.
Yeah.
sure.
So it was shiny black case, lime green dial.
What
lime
made you
green.
get it?
It was just trendy at the time.
Sure.
That's how we all started with watches. I mean, us growing up,
Absolutely.
how we grew up, it was G-Shock, right?
Yeah.
G-Shock was the thing. You know, you
Yeah,
wanted
it
to be
was.
cool in high school, you had to get a G-Shock.
Facts.
And I remember, like, I was saving up some bread for like 2 months,
Mm.
and I spent $120 on it.
Which was a lot for us back
It
then.
was- Yeah, it was
Heck
14.
yeah.
And then I realized what fools in school was doing was going to Queens Center Mall
Sure.
and going to the stands and
Sure.
copping them for 40 a pop.
Wow.
Because dudes was coming to school double wristing G-Shocks back then. I was like, ain't no way you just spent $240.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Because I seen how you coming to school with them sneakers on your feet. You're not spending $240 on some G-Shocks.
Shade.
Yeah.
Hell of a shade right now, but it's the truth.
Listen, your feet
So I
gotta be on
had
point.
the same G-Shock on
Feet
for
pieces
like
have
6
to be
months.
correct too.
Yes.
And it's crazy because I had the same G-Shock on my wrist in high school for like 6 months. And dudes would be like, yo, you got the same watch on all the time. I was like, yeah, because I got a real one.
There we go.
And so that was the comeback.
I didn't realize that people were knocking off G-Shocks.
Yeah, well, you could
Yeah.
always tell it was a fake G-Shock because the color would rub off. So then when we caught on to that, by that first
You
winter,
take your thumb and you just like,
yeah, if you do,
that's
if you do it for long
nasty.
enough, it will come off. So like by that first winter in high school,
That's
when we
gross.
realized that dudes is rocking the G-Shock every now and then, and you see the color starts to get a little grittier,
Yeah.
starts to feel a little more. Oh, that's that fufu.
It's the fufu.
Yeah.
It's the
You
fugazi.
got the fufu G-Shock.
The fu
And
shop.
that's how we realized. We know
Shock
what's up.
fu.
We know where you
Sure.
getting it from. And then you know where you're getting it from because you see everybody Friday after school, Saturday, Sunday, hopping on that bus.
At Queens Center Mall.
At Grand Street, going straight to Queens Center Mall.
We gotta have Derek on the show. Derek Mon.
Derek
I'm sure he
Mon.
knows about that back
He
in the day.
definitely does.
Yeah.
Shout out to Derek Mon.
Shout out to Derek. I remember my first was also a G-Shock. I had watches before, but the first watch that I purchased was probably about 10 years ago, maybe a little over 10 years ago. It was a G-Shock DW 6900 model.
yeah.
Bape collaboration.
wow.
It was when Bape was hot, and I was working for Pharrell at the time, and G-Shock was super hot in the streets of Soho, and Bape was on fire, and it just seemed like a natural fit. So I copped a Bape G-Shock.
What it looked like first camo.
It was
G-Shock.
all black. No, this one was all black. And if you know the DW9, the DW6900 model, it has that center button for the,
Just for the light.
yes,
I think we had the same one then. We
Yeah.
probably had the
probably.
Same
And so, but when you would light it in the main portion that showed the time, there was an
Had the
ape head.
There was an
It
ape
had a
head.
red
I
ape
remember
head.
those.
Yeah.
Those came in a bunch of
I
colors.
had one
too.
of those.
They did
too.
come in a bunch of
They
colors.
came in
I got the
black.
simple black one so I could
I had
wear
a
it.
red one.
It's nice.
They came in some
They did a
translucent
lot of
colors,
yeah.
too.
They did a bunch. They
Yeah,
did a
I had
bunch.
a red one.
I was after a Bapex for a while, and if you know
Yeah.
anything about Bapex was Bape's version of a Rolex. It was a knockoff Rolex that they made, automatic watch, Japan made, probably with a Seiko movement.
Yeah.
If we're
Yeah.
being honest, but they were really cool.
They were.
They were
People
super.
still rocking Bapex.
People are still wearing Bapex. Yeah. But that was my first one. I still have it. I actually think my dad wears it.
He stole it from me.
Yeah, he uses it.
Wow.
Did you use it on the grill?
Maybe he probably does.
Probably does.
He probably does. But that was the first watch I purchased, and I purchased it because it just seemed appropriate. I was involved in streetwear at that time, and my interest in fashion and design was expanding, and naturally that progressed towards timepieces, and the lowest hanging fruit for me it was G-Shock.
Yeah.
That was what was popular at the time, and I still love G-Shock as a brand. I still purchase their watches. I have G-Shocks, incredible, durable timepieces, indestructible,
Carbon
almost.
core guard, baby.
Facts.
Ain't
Yeah.
nothing breaking that.
Yeah,
No, at
seriously.
all.
What about you, Rashawn?
That I could remember, I definitely have to say an Iron Man. So I
Okay,
had a ti-
Timex Iron Man.
I had a Timex Iron
Dope.
Man. I remember for anybody that's that's from Brooklyn or at least familiar with Brownsville. One of the most like one of the most iconic stores on Pickens Avenue was Smart Kids.
Okay.
So Smart Kids was this shop. It was like a one-stop shop for everything. But it was like you had like toys, you had watches, you had video games. I actually used to collect pocket knives from there. And it was funny
That
too.
sounds dangerous.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I was probably like 10, 11 years old, and like my mom didn't know and used to be able to buy you could buy a pocket knife for like $1.
Yeah, the little tiny joints.
The little tiny
like
joints.
an 1.5 inches long. I remember those.
So I used to collect pocket knives and I used to collect digital watches from Smart Kids.
So funny. You're like the perfect REI client.
No, for sure. Like I
Yeah.
just like collect just like weird stuff. But I remember, you know, my dad had an Iron Man as well as a Rolex, but you know what he wore to work, or like when he was doing like his heavy maintenance or heavy lifting, was an Iron Man watch. And I remember I used to take it from him all the time. He was like, Sean, I need my work watch. And he gave me money to go ahead and buy my own watch. So that was like really, really cool. From what I could remember, the first watch that I was able to purchase was an Iron Man.
Tight. I actually never owned one of those. I always
me
wanted
either.
one.
Yeah.
I actually still want one. I would love an Iron Man Timex.
Amazing, because you know it still has that Velcro strap,
Yeah.
kind of like the setup of the Moose watch.
Yeah. I'm gonna check those out on
It's
eBay
like a
and
one
see if I
piece,
can find
yeah.
something.
You
'Cause
can probably
they
find
did-
some crazy ones.
I'm sure because they did like a lot of really cool like color schemes and I know they did some licensing stuff too with that Iron Man line. Timex should bring that back. That was pretty popular. I actually saw one recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a young kid that I know. He was wearing one. He showed me. I was looking at his wrist. I was like, "What the heck is that?" He was like, "Oh, it's Iron Man Timex." It was like
Sick.
gold and black colored. It
Sick.
was nice. It was kind of crazy.
Sick.
It was dope. Collecting knives is something that me and you have in common too. I
Yes.
went through a period where I was collecting a lot of knives.
Yeah. You had a lot of pocket knives.
I still do. I have a lot of pocket knives. Some ornate stuff. I have a bunch of crazy stuff. I have a bunch of Laols, French knives.
Yeah.
A couple of James knives.
Rashawn just got a James knife. a couple
James
months
knives
ago
are cool.
Yeah.
I have.
Nearly cut
I
my
had a
finger off.
Sabenza. Sabenza was tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, when you collect watches, you usually collect a bunch of other things too.
Yes.
So let's go on to the next one. That was fun. What does a watch symbolize in your life? And why are watches so important to you? This is from Fiotsky.
Fiatoski, that's my
Fiatoski?
boy.
Oh, you
just
know
call
him, okay.
We just call him Feet.
Feet.
Well, that was
okay.
funny because
That's the name on the streets.
I was wondering. I said, "Yo, who is this
Yeah.
guy?" Like, I was like, "Man, we have
That's
like
my
some
boy Feet from Philly.
no feet." But that's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, "Man,
How do you
like,
pronounce
does anybody
it?
have
You just call
connections
him
to him?"
Fiatoski. Is the name,
Fiatoski.
yeah.
Fiatos.
You just call him Feet.
Feet.
No, shout
All
out
right,
to Feet.
respect. Why? What does a watch symbolize in your life, and why is it so important to you? Either one of you want to take that on?
Yeah.
Sure.
For me, a watch symbolizes a period in my life, whether it's highs, lows. So far, at this point in my life, collecting watches has mirrored success.
Okay.
I remember when there was a time when I couldn't afford to buy a watch. I remember when there was a time when I
Could afford to buy at least 25 of them.
definitely couldn't afford to buy 25 of them. But it was just more like, you know, I acquire watches based on the time period that's going on in my life. You know, the same way how I acquired this one, how I'm probably going to acquire the next one, just continuing to elevate and build the collection, and you see where you are as you look at these and marvel over these
Yeah.
pieces. It's so important because of the simple fact that it's something that you'll never, ever, ever be able to forget. Because time is everything. Time is what we stand on. Time is what we live by. Time is what we measure. It's everything.
Yeah, I think if everyone can kind of think about it for a second and take a step back and look at the general picture of like a watch, it's literally man's conquest of time.
Sure.
Like time's definitely, we can say it's a construct of whatever it wants to be because it always changes with or without us, right? It's something that we can't control. And what do? We mechanized it and put it on our wrist.
Yep.
Facts.
Or made a clock. Or made a pocket watch.
Yeah.
This is the only way that as, humanity or as like a species, whatever, that we can have a semblance of control over this.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of gives us a security in some sense.
A little bit.
Yeah.
For sure.
And like Rashawn said, it's like you can look at your watch collection and see where you were and where you are.
Yeah.
That's,
and where you going?
At the end of the day, even without the watch, that's time.
Facts.
So we mark it
exactly.
with
Absolutely.
the wristwatch or the timepiece.
Absolutely. For me, there's definitely that aspect to it. It's important to me because they are markers at different points in my life. Usually a watch purchase encapsulates an occasion or a milestone for me. There's another side to it that I enjoy. I think where my passion comes from for collecting timepieces is in understanding that we actually don't need them today.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're inundated with various forms of media and tools that help us keep track of time, that you actually don't need to wear a watch. So there's something about wearing a watch that ties me back to the past, again, playing on time, that I enjoy.
Yeah.
It's when I wear a watch and I read the time, it reminds me of all the people that were important to me that wore watches.
It also makes it feel real, I think.
It makes it feel real, but it also, it reminds me of my grandfathers. It reminds me of different male figures in my life that were important. My father, other relatives, cousins, uncles, brothers. It reminds me of friends, people that I know that wore watches. So every time I look at a watch to remember the time, I on more than one occasion, at least daily, a couple times a day, if not once a day, I think about somebody that I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
And it does that for me. And that's part of the reason why I enjoy it and why it's important to me. And for the most part, particularly my grandfathers, both of them, they both wore watches. They grew up in a time where they didn't have all of these tools or assets at their disposal, to gadgets, to measure time. You had to wear a watch if you wanted to know what time it was. And I remember my grandfather having a clock in his car, which was a luxury. Right? If you had a clock in your car, you were doing it.
My grandfather, till the day he died, had a Cadillac DeVille, and that thing had a clock in it.
Yes. So Doc said at one point did all the clocks that were in Mercedes-Benz vehicles.
I had no clue.
Yeah. So this is very relative.
That's fine. That's dope.
Louis, here we go. Louis, wait. I haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, the more you know.
The rainbow.
The rainbow.
But that's why it's important to me. What about you, Ben?
I mean, aside from what I said earlier, I think it just, again, it makes it feel real for me. It's like, time is this crazy complicated thing that literally changes every year, changes every hour. You need to, even the calendar, right? The calendar is a way to control time.
Yeah.
Having that on my wrist makes it seem like I have a semblance of control and I know what I'm doing and I can schedule things and I'm organized and I can keep my shit together.
Facts.
Yeah.
It's just a constant reminder of that.
Yeah, big time.
For sure.
This next question I like a lot, and I think this is going to be a lot of fun. This comes from Blake Bedoya on Instagram, Blake_Bedoya, who's a big supporter of the podcast. And he asks, what's one watch you love that is generally considered to be unpopular or ugly? I love that question.
I mean,
so I'll go. Let me take this on first because and if you've been watching the podcast or listening, it might not come as a surprise. but the Tudor P01. I love this watch.
Yes.
It's a good watch.
Yes.
I hate the strap,
Yes.
but I love the watch. It's an oddball of a watch.
Yes.
Most people I talk to hate it. They don't get it. They don't understand it. They're just like, what the heck is up with you in this piece?
Yeah.
I think it's fire.
Yeah.
I think it's fire. And I would love to own one. And I probably need to pick one up soon before it's discontinued.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's
a
still in
matter
the
of time
line.
before
Well, it's
it
because
disappears.
people just don't know the story of it just being a prototype for the U.S. Navy.
Yeah, that's literally what P01 means, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Prototype 1.
Yes.
Prototype 1. And for them to go ahead and put that out there, I think is really cool. Ironically, I don't know of any other brands that have that kind of correlation. And like, we always give Tudor their props because they are very daring. They do the things that like their big brother can't do.
Yes.
The only brand that has actually made a prototype a real watch is, I think, one of their biggest competitors, which like stands side by side by them, probably produces just as many watches as they do, would be Omega with the Ultra Deep.
Sure, yeah.
So like, the Ultra Deep was a prototype in 2009 for Victor Vescovo and his deep sea excavations and went even deeper
than the Deep Sea.
Than the James Cameron.
Facts.
I mean, the fact
knocks
that
it out the park.
Knocks it out the park by like, not even like,
I mean, it goes
hundreds
20,000
of
feet.
Thousands of feet.
Yeah.
Thousands of feet.
Now, if I can quote Bryn, that's the thick boy.
That's the thick boy. That's the thick boy.
That's the hoochie daddy.
Yes. But you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense why you would love that timepiece because it's like, it is the oddball of the group. It's the one that everybody goes, you like that?
I love it.
And
I love
and that's
it.
your
I think
response.
it's fire.
And it's amazing.
It's so dope.
So tasteful.
It's so dope.
So
It's just
tasteful.
so different. It's strange, weird, quirky.
Yes.
And I go for those things. I like things that are a bit left, a little obscure.
Yes.
It checks all those boxes for me. I need to get one this year.
Yeah.
I got to figure that out. I mean, it's not like you can't get one.
Yeah, you can walk.
Wait,
You're
hold on,
not
hold on.
running out
Me
of
and
the
Billy,
case.
you know how to get one.
I know.
we made a
Sure,
we had a
yeah.
moment.
I know how to
Yeah.
Telepathically.
Wait, hold on. In the words of Tommy Valenti, I got a guy.
I gotta go. Sure, facts. Shout out to Tommy.
Just
Shout
think
out to
about it.
Tommy.
What about you guys?
I don't know, man. I don't think any watch I like is ugly.
Okay.
I
think in terms of like what other people think about it.
That's what I'm about to get at.
Sure.
I think if you think something I like is ugly, you just have no taste. You're the problem.
I feel the same way about the P01.
Yeah, so then I'm done.
But I know that people feel that way about it.
Sure. To be fair, the P01 is a very polarizing piece.
Sure.
I don't think I have that. I don't know.
You don't have a polarizing piece.
Mm-mm.
Interesting.
I think
What
it's
would be the most polarizing piece that you think?
I don't even know. Oh, you know what? Probably that crazy ass Omega I tried on at the boutique.
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
X33.
X33.
That is
It's a digital.
polarizing.
I showed that to a lot of people, and they were like, "What the fuck is that?" And I'm
There
like,
you
"What do
go.
you mean?
A lot of
And
people
that watch
feel
is-
that
that
way
watch is
about
sick.
that.
That watch is crazy."
Yeah, it's
dope.
a
You know what it is,
beautiful
too?
watch.
Yo, it's
A lot of
great.
people feel away about that because they don't feel like it's luxury.
It's so complicated.
It
and
is,
It's so
but
simple
because it's
when you look at it,
digital,
yeah.
they're like,
But it's crazy because there's mechanical aspects to it.
100%.
Like,
Exactly.
The thing has
That watch is insane.
It has a digital chronograph. How you think the chronograph runs? There's mechanics. It
That's a
just
fire
displays it
watch.
on the digital screen.
On the
That is a
digital-
fire
it's so
watch.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
You know what? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good
that's
one.
a crazy one.
That's actually a really good
I
one.
saw
Everyone
one of
I
those
showed that to,
recently
they
in
were like,
person.
"What?"
Yeah.
It looks like you're wearing a spider. I was like, "That's great."
Yeah.
But that's
I
it.
love
Looks
that.
exactly like a spider.
like,
it looks
that's
great
great.
on his wrist too.
It's dope.
Yeah, we went
so
to
you
the.
know what? There you
yeah.
go. X33.
What about
Yeah.
you, Rashawn?
Oh man. I mean, but you guys should know this because you shared your P01. You know I'm going with the turquoise OP.
That's what?
That
no
is
one thinks that's ugly.
no. You guys
Or
thought it was ugly, and
unpopular.
you guys gave me grief about it.
We gave you grief because you said it's not an
Listen.
unpopular watch.
That's what we're talking
This
about.
is the most highly coveted watch.
Yeah, what the hell are you talking about?
But it wasn't.
Like
but
5 years.
But when I said it was when I said it was the most highly coveted watch.
No. You said it wasn't the most highly coveted. We said there's no hype around it. That's where the beef started.
No. I said there's no hype. I said there's no hype around Rolex.
You said there's no hype. Man, listen.
We gotta roll the footage. We gotta roll the footage.
We'll roll back the footage.
We gotta roll back
Matter
the
of
footage.
fact, pause time. This is when we roll back the footage. This watch went from, what was it trading at before?
17,000
$17,000
to 20 grand.
Okay, 17 to 20.
Even let's say 20. Let's say it's trading for 20.
Let's say 20.
Patek drops 50. So
Yes.
there's a whole bunch of people that didn't want it before.
Who now want
They're
it?
now like, well, I can't get the Patek, but I still want a Tiffany colored blue dial.
But the thing is this: I've heard stories, and I know a reputable source that has told me that someone has brought that blue dial for 45 grand.
Which one?
The Rolex.
The Rolex.
The Rolex. Sure.
I think there's a lot of people
So
paying
that,
for that
but
now.
my thing is this
that's
though.
all because
So
of
hold
Patek.
on. But the thing is this though: the fact that it can still continue to climb.
It's not.
And people
That's the peak.
are actually investing in it. I think that speaks volumes.
I'm not sure those people are investing in anything. You're never gonna get 50 grand back for this watch.
But I don't. But
You're
no. But
losing
my
money
thing is this though.
the instant
That's
you
the
buy
simple
this. I don't
fact
know if I
that they
agree with
want
that.
the watch though.
I think so.
They want the watch.
This is never gonna
If
cost
you
more
can
than
spend
that.
$50,000 on a watch, that
It's-
means you really want it.
The
You
way I-
really want it.
I think
Because I remember I said there's no hype.
You
I said
just
there's
dug a
no
hole
hype
for
behind
yourself,
Rolex.
dog. You dug a hole for yourself.
I said there's no hype behind
There's no
Rolex.
escaping. All right, I feel you. We gonna end it right there. Pick a different watch.
Different watch. A timepiece that I think that is not that aesthetically pleasing or
for the record too,
or
our production crew just bawled out laughing because they know that, like, come on.
All right, there's plenty of watches that you like that I don't. You could pick one easily. Cue Jeopardy
I mean,
music.
the thing is, like, there's a lot of I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't think any watches I choose is ugly either. Just like you were saying. I mean,
Sure, but we're not talking about, obviously
It's
something
something
you
that
like
other-
it,
that other
but you
people-
know
Like a-
that
that's
it's,
like a-
it's
that's like a-
you
that's
know
like
that
an
other
eyeball
people
piece?
Yeah.
feel a way about it.
I couldn't answer that.
Electricians.
That's
Well, yeah,
You like a lot of things that I think a lot of
Yes,
people would
yeah.
not like.
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
I
But the
think they
thing is,
respect
like,
you for it, but they don't like it.
that's what I'm saying. A lot of people respect me for the
that's the
watches that I
question.
choose, but nobody ever has told me like, "Yo, I don't like your watch. I think it's
I
ugly."
think people respect
I think
the
just
people.
me.
People.
I probably just been.
I think people respect the fact that you
That you're rocking
genuinely
it.
love
Yeah.
timepieces and that you don't discriminate. I think people admire that about you, but they would not rock an electrician. They'd be like, who?
Well,
A fake G-Shock?
I got it. Listen,
Why
you
your
know what?
wires explode?
If I,
Yeah.
you know what? When I do repeat a watch, that's the first watch I'm gonna repeat.
Do it.
I mean, I'm going to put you onto electricians. I think electricians is fire.
I love electricians.
I think it's dope.
Yeah.
I like their more dystopian stuff.
But see, that's the thing. That's why I can't think of
the thing is
of
that
a
you-
watch. No, because like we're
But,
in our
but
own.
here's the
most
thing.
people would-
I
Remember
don't listen
how,
to the white noise. I listen.
I feel you, and I respect it. But remember how, like, I think it was when we talk about Ricardo a lot, but
Shout
I
out to
love
Ricardo. We love
Ricardo
Ricardo.
because he's great and he has an amazing perspective. But I think it was similar to something he said where it's like understanding. Oh no, actually, you know what? It was Ricardo, but it was also Rafa.
Yes.
This was Rafa's main point that Ricardo emphasized to a degree. Learning how to appreciate a watch.
Without
That's not for
having
you.
to own it.
Without having to
Without
own
knowing
it.
it, yeah.
And that's how I feel about electricians. Like when I saw electricians, I was like, I like this. I think it's great.
I'm never gonna buy one.
Because I know I'm not going to wear it.
Yeah. Same.
And that's it. I know I'm not going to I'm not going to wear that. But I like it. And I think electricians is fire.
Yeah, it's great.
I just know I'm not going to wear it. But I also know a lot of people are probably like, yeah.
Yeah.
But they probably feel the same way about Studio Underdog.
Yeah.
And I would wear a Studio Underdog.
You think people feel that way about Studio
I do.
Underdog?
I do.
Yeah,
I think a lot of
there's
people that
always-
we
there's
know,
always people.
I think a lot of people that we know feel that way. They would not rock a Studio Underdog. But
They like it and appreciate it.
they do like it.
Okay.
I would wear one.
Well,
I think
I think
all
also
three of us
too.
would.
Okay, this is where I'm gonna call a spade a spade. I think most people that collect watches don't have style.
I think a lot of people would agree with you.
We already know what it is. When somebody wears a Daytona, they're probably in a bad suit.
Hey, not anymore, paisan.
Paisan.
There we go.
Well, I mean, but
Valenti would be proud of that one.
shout out to Valenti. I mean, not to like call anybody out or like, I think, right now, especially when we sat down with Tom, you're starting to see that, fashion icons or guys that rock, streetwear are starting to collect watches. Before it wasn't that. If you wore a nice timepiece, you always wore a suit.
Sure.
And then when you were outside of your suit,
You ain't wear a watch.
you didn't wear a watch.
So this is something that's coming
less
up a
expensive.
lot, and it's like, and we've been talking about it to some companies that we're talking to and dealing with, but like it keeps coming up, like how do you style a watch?
Yeah.
Which is an interesting conversation because I feel like though we do style watches,
Yes.
it comes from a place for us that's very natural because I think the three of us we're fashion first,
Yeah.
right? Kind of in tune. We have our finger on the pulse. We know what's happening. But we also have our own style. We have our own aesthetic. And we're very comfortable in our skin.
Yes.
And so we're unafraid to mix highs and lows and to play with, contrasting ideas and juxtaposition. Like I'm literally wearing like a $30,000 watch on my wrist with like a vintage flannel and some New Balance shorts. And a lot of like 10 years ago, people would be like,
What's going on?
What's going on? But today,
Yeah.
it's okay because of where fashion is going and the blurred lines between like high fashion and like streetwear and highs and lows. And so I think today it's a different conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what we were talking about with Tom that I think is so cool. And I think that's one of the things that we bring to the table in terms of a podcast that people actually enjoy is like, the visual sensibility.
Yes.
Did I put the nail in the coffin with that one?
No, you definitely did. You put
Silence.
You
I
put
took
it, no,
the
you put
air
it
out
to
of the
rest.
room again.
You definitely took the air out of the room, and that's the thing. Is like, if you thought about it, most of the guys that we know that like own like all these big boy watches, like
They need some help in the fashion department.
In the style department.
Yeah.
exactly.
That's okay.
Man,
We
that's
can help them.
but that's okay
Yeah.
too. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, when you have us coming into the game, we set different standards.
Sure. Absolutely. But that's also what's fun about it, right? Is like to wear like a Daytona and to dress it down.
The fun thing about it is
It's a
literally
sports
how do you
watch.
style the watch.
How do you style
Like
watch?
in sports, in terms of like, where the category came from is leisure.
Yes.
I mean, I feel leisurely.
Mm-hmm.
That's my lifestyle. I want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Leisure, luxury. Let's blend the two. Let's mix the worlds. They should be one and the same
Yeah.
in my world.
Yeah.
But that was fun. Okay, so
We're getting technical now.
we get. So this question
Thanks, John.
is for you because I know your love and appreciation for this topic.
Also
I am
my-
not so knowledgeable.
This is also my second favorite complication. that we're
It
gonna
is,
talk
yes.
about.
You mentioned before. So, the homie, John C. Tam, and that is his Instagram handle if you want to follow him. He is a watch collector and a big supporter of the show. We appreciate him. And this show was his idea.
It was. Shout out to John.
Shout
again.
out to John.
John will be in
So we're
town
doing
next
your
week.
show,
Very
and the
happy
show
to
is
see him.
dedicated to you, John. But we finally got to his question. His question is, why is a minute repeater so special, and why are they so expensive, more so than perpetual calendars?
So, minute repeaters, bit of a history lesson on minute repeaters.
Sure.
They existed before watches did, in a traditional sense, technically.
Okay.
You gotta remember, the oldest like watch or wristwatch clock manufacturer, everyone to call them in the world, is Blancpain. They've been around since the late 1700s.
Facts.
Right? So they were making clocks.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, back in those days, there was no consistent source of light. You had candles and you had daylight.
That's
no
right.
electricity.
No.
So that means no digital clocks. That means there's no way to power something. There's no nothing, right?
Yep.
You either had a very expensive object that Blancpain made for you, which not a lot of people could afford.
Facts.
Or you listened to church bells.
There we go.
There you go.
That's how you figured out what time it was. Church bells ring once an hour.
Yep.
In most places, at least.
Mhm.
In New York, not so much.
Yeah.
Everywhere else, yes. So, for example, Jaeger LeCoultre. Can you repeat that for me, Rashawn?
Gégé Lecoute.
Here we go.
Jaeger made a minute repeater. Well, I want to say they made a minute repeater, but before Jaeger was founded as a watch manufacturer in 1833, they were making music boxes.
I know that.
They were
yes.
making
which I think
sound.
is an incredible
Right.
history lesson.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
Jaeger was doing this before they were making watches.
Yes, they were.
Patek made their first minute repeater in 1924.
Yep.
And again, if you didn't have constant source of light, how could you tell time? There was no loom. Your watch set it for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You had a set of bells and gongs that tell you the first bell would strike every hour on the hour when you wanted it to. The second set of gongs would be every quarter hour, so 15, 30, 45, and then the next hour.
Yes.
And then every petite gong after that would be the minute following the quarter hour.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very interesting way to tell time, also extremely complex to make.
Yeah.
Yes.
Super complex. There's a bunch of wire, and again, you have to tune essentially a fork to, you're making music. in
Yeah,
the
they
time
have to all
making
sound
music
different
in
so
the
you
time.
can
Yeah,
distinguish
exactly. So
one sound from the other and
I'm
tell
not
the
a
time.
watchmaker, but if I had to guess, minute repeaters are really fucking hard to make.
Very time consuming.
Perpetual calendars are a series of cogs,
Yes.
which if you're a watchmaker you already have experience with, it's really just figuring out where to put the disc in place.
You can churn them out.
Yeah, minute repeaters are a whole different level of watchmaking.
There's
Also-
especially because of the tuning.
Yeah, you
Like,
have, you have to tune
I imagine
things.
that is the most
You have
time
to tune
consuming.
wires, you have to tune
It's a
how the
lot.
gongs, you have a mechanism,
And you have to
loaded by
make
a
sure
spring.
if you're churning out a set amount of minute repeater watches, if you're a Patek, if you're a Gégé Lecoultre, you want to make sure that they're all tuned to the same frequency.
Right, they have
So
to
they have to sound the same.
And I'm still gonna say, like, there's gongs, there's chimes.
Right, there's
That's
also
right.
different kinds. There's Patek makes two different minute repeaters, and one of them goes off of literal church bells, and the other one is off of cathedral gongs.
Right.
To me, a church and a cathedral is the same shit. But,
Sure.
But to Patek, it's
To
not.
a specific
and
not.
they certainly sound differently.
Yes.
Also, too, what remember when we were talking to Rich
Sure.
at Sotheby's, and they were breaking down the
This is Rich's fourth shout out. He's gonna love this.
yeah.
Shout out to you, Rich.
Shout out to Rich.
Because I know you listen to this on the drive home. So anything that we can do to keep you smiling and
And keep you awake.
keep you
got
safe and
long
awake on the
nights.
road,
Yes.
we got you, my man.
I mean, also too, the ladies at Sotheby's as well, holding it down and giving the history lessons as well, because they're amazing.
Yep.
Sure.
But you know, the minute repeater also served as not necessarily like an alarm clock, but it was at the time, being a pocket watch, what you would do is you would hit that lever and you would see what time it is
Yes.
without looking at.
It's also
Yes.
very cool. Like when you can listen to a minute repeater and know what time it is.
Exactly.
It's like the feeling you get from it is like, oh, I was right.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
Also, too, it could serve for somebody that's blind.
Yes.
of course.
Shout out to Stevie Wonder.
Yo.
Wait, hold on. Here's the thing.
Wait, what?
I have this conspiracy that Stevie's not blind. But
Well,
save
no,
that for
but
later
so
on.
did you see the photo of
Of him
Stevie
taking a
getting
photo?
into? Yo, Stevie was getting in a van and he lifted his sunglasses up. There's a photo of that.
He's trolling.
There's also a photo of him taking
Yeah,
a picture with the
photo,
camera,
yeah.
where he's like
trolling.
got a camera. And he's like click.
He's trolling.
I mean, listen, I won't say Stevie's not blind. I'm just saying.
Conspiracy
But
theories.
look, back to minute repeaters. Back to minute repeaters.
A little fun. We having a little fun.
Other thing you gotta consider with minute repeaters too is that they have to, like you said, Perry, they gotta be tuned to a certain frequency, but
Yes.
also you gotta take into consideration what the cases are made out of,
Yeah.
and how that can change and alter the sound.
So yes, and
There's
I
so
think
many
they've
variables.
Yeah.
got to be very cognizant and aware of the materials they're using, and there's the frequency and how it sounds in the case.
Yeah,
That's
Patek,
like the
Patek literally
advanced
just
research, right?
Patek literally just dropped the advanced
Yes.
research a couple months ago, and they literally put a tuning fork
Yeah.
inside of the watch in between two super thin sapphire discs.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
turn the watch over, you can see the wire that the gongs hit against to create noise, and it's insane.
And
Wild.
that small little mechanism.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's all mechanical.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So I hope we answered your question, John.
The watch encyclopedia here.
I try. It's not gonna stick though.
It's not gonna
That's
stick.
the thing. Can't wait to see you next week, John.
Next question. Our boy, Derek Mon, at the Minute Mon
The Minute Mon.
on Instagram, and he says, rank your priority highest to lowest. Design, price, fit size, movement, strap options. So this is what you consider.
Yeah.
How do you rank? What's most important to you to what's least important?
Okay.
Design,
Okay.
strap, fit, movement, price.
Price is last for you.
Yeah.
You're a very wealthy man. Explain that. Why?
I have to like it, first of all.
Facts.
I don't care what's inside of it. I have to like how it looks. That's
Yeah.
number
Sure.
one.
Yeah.
Number two, the strap is on, as we all know, extremely important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because 9 out of 10 times I'm probably changing it.
Sure.
The fit and the size, I think that's obvious reasons, right?
Yeah.
If you put it on and it just doesn't work, it doesn't
It doesn't work.
Yeah. The movement, I'm tired of movement snobs. Who cares? Quartz, manual, automatic. Do you like the watch? Yes. Does it fit you? Yes. Can you afford it? Buy it.
Does it tell time?
It's
Yes.
that simple. They all do
Yes.
the same thing.
Yes.
Price, I'm speaking from a point of money's not an option, not an object here. It doesn't matter. If you like it and you can buy it, just buy it.
Yeah.
Sure. For me, if I'm ranking highest to lowest, design comes first. Fit and size comes next. Price is third. Movement, and then strap options. Strap options for me are last only because I can change it.
Yeah.
So I never really consider the strap or a bracelet when I purchase a watch. I'm looking. I mean, I do. If it's on a great strap, that's a plus. If it's on a great bracelet, that's a plus. I'm in love with it. I'm a bracelet dude. I'm all in. But those aren't deal breakers for me because I know I'm like, I can swap it out. I can change it. I'll remix the bracelet on a watch or a strap. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like my vintage Omega Speedmaster, I don't wear on the original bracelet it came with. I don't like it. Mm-hmm. So I have like several bracelet options and several strap options for it. I swap it out. I just love the watch. Mm-hmm. Price is third for me because I'm not wealthy. And so I do have to consider it.
I'm an enabler. So.
Yeah, he is. But I try not to go outside of my means. Design comes first. I'm a lover of good design and aesthetics. It's very important to me. Fit and size are second after that because that's part of design for me. Mm-hmm. Right? So there's the how it looks, but then it's also like how does it look on my wrist?
Yeah. And
that can make or break a watch for me. Movement is fourth. It's after design, fit size, after price, but before strap options. Because I am interested in movement. I don't discriminate against movements. I'll wear a quartz watch. I'll wear different kinds of movements. I just think they're interesting. I consider them. Mm-hmm. So I'll often like collect watches also based on the movement. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where I'm like, I just want this one in my collection because. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like the reason why I wanted the vintage GP that I have is because the gyromatic. Yeah. I wanted a gyromatic movement. Which I've discovered keeps immaculate time. Yes. For a watch that was made in the 60s. Yeah. Like it probably, out of all my watches, it probably keeps the best time. which is crazy. So yeah, that's. What about you?
I kind of partner with Ben on his on like his order. But I think it's very unanimous. Like design always comes
Yeah,
first.
I think that was a good one.
For all
Sure.
of us.
Three of us.
We just love how things look.
I
aesthetically.
don't think someone could wear a watch they thought was ugly.
Yeah.
I think people would buy
I think
a watch.
Rashawn can, just to say he has 25 watches.
Yeah, okay.
But also, but I mean, beauty's at the eye of the beholder. You know what I'm saying?
I think I do consider that there are those guys out there that are. I mean, we do know that some of those guys, right? That they don't buy the watch because they love it. They buy it because they think other people do.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
And though they might not be ugly watches, they're not in love with it. And
Of
so I
course.
think there is that,
Yeah.
where they don't consider design because they're considering like
How
this
they
is
look.
this
with
is the
it.
piece that I should have because of
Yeah.
where I'm going, where I'm at, who I'm around.
I mean, because you can find some people that, fit and size is the first thing that they actually go for.
No, I know those people too.
Or even still, like, I think this is a really good question because it is arguably, I think anything can come first.
Yeah, think about people who are just shopping with a budget, right?
Shopping with a
They
budget.
don't care about what they like more than the other. They care about what they like in that price range.
Yeah.
Facts.
Movement, strap options, like, oh, I need a watch that's on bracelet only. Watches on bracelet only work for me. Or I don't want a leather strap.
I prefer watches on bracelets. Yes,
Yeah?
I do. I'm a bracelet guy at heart.
Yeah, you guys both agree
I'll
as
do
bracelets.
strap.
No, you.
No,
No, he
sure,
loves
sure.
straps.
I think I said it. I think I said this on like episode 1 or 2. I think we were talking about Grand Seiko and when I made my famous meh.
Yes.
I think the only brand that makes a good bracelet is Rolex.
Yeah.
Facts. I mean, I'm so
Straight
as
up.
he said that, I'm like looking
Yeah, I
at
saw you.
Yeah, no,
like
that's for
straight
sure.
up.
and there's
The
like
new-
the
new-
polished and brushed
the
oyster
new-
bracelet. Like
the new Speedy
it's
bracelet
nice.
that Omega came out with.
Fire.
Probably second best.
Second best.
But
I love an oyster
But,
I don't
bracelet.
think
it's inspired by
anyone's
the
making-
Jubilee, though, you know?
I mean, so what? I don't think.
No, I don't think anything's wrong with
Yeah,
that.
I don't think anyone's making a better bracelet than Rolex. Period. And
Yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
think
Facts. I agree with
and
that.
I don't think anyone's making a second best bracelet than Omega.
For sure.
Period.
For sure. 100%.
Cartier makes good bracelets.
Nah.
Oh, I disagree.
No.
I do
I
like
think
the
Cartier
bracelet on the
makes good
Santos. I like the
bracelets.
bracelet on the Santos.
The Santos bracelet is good. It's not better than the Speedy bracelet.
It's not better than the Speedy bracelet.
No.
I think they make good bracelets.
That's the only.
That's
good
the
bracelet.
only good bracelet.
The Santos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah,
other
that's
bracelet's
true.
odd. Yeah. They make a
That's
good
true.
bracelet.
They do.
Yeah,
they
they
do.
make eight.
That's,
That's
true.
probably-
Okay.
Yeah,
I already
we done?
on that one.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So
So the next question.
yeah, we gotta go to the next question.
This comes from @Mark on Watches. This is Mark from Crown and Caliber.
Shout out to Mark.
Shout out to Mark. I'm a big fan of his podcast and his network and what he does, and he tunes into us and shares feedback all the time, and we appreciate him. He asks a good question: what hidden gem of a watch would you buy for yourself?
Oh man, you guys know mine.
What?
Hidden gem of a watch.
Hidden gem? What?
I
I'm
love
blanking.
Undone.
Hidden gem.
That's not a hidden gem though.
A hidden gem. Yeah, I mean, think about the price point. Think about because they do.
Yeah, but they're known.
You think they know? I don't
Yeah.
think people know about Undone like
They
that.
do. I think so.
I think if you're into watches, you do.
If you, I guess, because I wear my piece, like I wear my Undone pieces, and people be like, "What is that?"
But how many of those people only want Rolex, or only know the big brands?
Well, you know something too. We're also jaded because of the volume of people that we see and that we speak to about watches. I think for the amount of people that we see that appreciate watches is definitely smaller than the people that actually quote unquote want watches.
Sure, there's that.
So me personally, I think I see through a different lens because I am on the other side of the counter. But I would say hidden gem, or at least a hidden gem that I own. I would have to say Undone.
I mean, so Undone, I think they're owned by Seiko Corporation.
Yeah,
Yes.
they are.
So they are Seiko watches. A lot of people do not know about Undone.
Yes.
I will concede to that. That is true. I feel like if you are a Seiko fan, you do know about Undone. If you are someone who has a diverse appreciation for watches, you do know about Undone.
Okay.
But there are a lot of people that, truthfully speaking, to your point, do not know about it. They've never heard of it. They've never seen it. They don't know what they do.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm always surprised by a lot of stuff that I see them do.
Yes.
They do
That
a
split-second
variety
chrono?
of different things that are kind of cool.
Did you see that split second chrono?
I did not.
The salmon dial,
No, I didn't see that.
brigade numerals.
Send it to me. I would love to see. Send me a link. Drop
That
the
might
link.
be one that you have to own. The timepiece that
I'll check it
You
out.
can appreciate it without owning it. Don't
I
forget.
get.
Yeah.
I think you should own that one. That's
Okay.
a good one. I gifted Ben a
Yeah, I
an
wore it
Undone.
on the show.
Yeah,
Nice.
I
on
know.
the
Oh
show.
yeah. No, I do like that one.
Yeah.
That one is nice.
That's a good one.
Yeah, the
That's a
Keely.
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they had the Kinsatori one that I wanted.
You fell in love with that.
It's
You were
fire.
talking about it for days. When
It was
you
good.
Discovered
It sold out. I mean, I would have bought that.
Yeah,
I would have bought that for sure.
look at that split second chrono.
For me, in terms of a gem of a watch that I would buy for myself, there is one that's on my hit list. It's a Heuer. I'm not a huge Heuer fan, not really a Tag Heuer guy. But for the vintage Heuer Viceroy chronograph, I want one.
Yeah,
That is a gem of a watch I would purchase for myself. I think the history is super cool. You know, the connection with the cigarette company
Yeah.
is dope. I love the vintage advertising,
Gotta-
especially
gotta
as someone
love old school
who collects
ads.
vintage ads, which I do. All of that history, but also I think it's a cool watch. And so for me, the Heuer Viceroy chronograph is that piece for me. I do want one. They are pretty affordable right now, but they have over the last 2 years been steadily climbing up. People are catching wind of them, and they're becoming a collectible.
yeah.
So I think that watch is a gem, an underrated gem that I would purchase for myself if I came across a really good one in fair condition, for
Nice.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's dope.
I'm taking a Crador locomotive,
Okay.
which I don't think is something a lot of people have even heard of,
Mm-hmm.
let alone just the brand Crador.
Yes.
So Crador is a super high-end Japanese watch company.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually made in Grand Seiko's micro artist studio. Crador as a brand probably puts out a handful of watches every couple months.
Sure. Well, there was that minute repeater they did that we
Yeah.
were talking about.
Yeah, so in the 70s, this is where it gets a little crazy. It's a Crador that's shaped like an octagon on a bracelet.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds familiar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Designed by Gerald Genta.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
It's
Sounds
a
like AP.
Genta designed Japanese watch,
A Seiko AP.
basically.
There we go.
But if you just Google Crador locomotive, it looks nothing like an AP, looks nothing like a Nautilus. The bracelet is so thin and tapered that it's in the middle of the case.
Wow.
Like, there's no lugs, there's no nothing. The bracelet's attached onto it. It almost looks like a pocket watch with the bracelet added on.
Mm.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I do think by way of the hype surrounding like people becoming more in tune with like Gerard Genta's contributions to design, watch design, that a lot of the other things that he produced that people are discovering are going to become
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
popular.
I mean, the thing with the
IWC
Cradors-
Ingenieur,
Yeah,
I
well-
checked out after hanging out with Rafa,
Yeah.
is actually fire.
Yeah, it is
the,
fire.
the cool thing too about the locomotive is that if you want one, you basically still either have to go to Japan and hunt one down or hit the Yahoo Japan auctions. There's like no other way to get one.
Wow.
And if you Google image search, there's not a lot of photos of them out there either. There's like Genta's original sketch of it, and then a couple that have already come up for sale, so they came and went. There's not really much about it. So it's definitely, it's a gem, and it's definitely a hidden
Well,
one.
Crador doesn't do very many pieces anyway.
No,
so I
and you
imagine
never
if
really
they-
see
yeah.
one in the U.S.
You
anyway.
don't.
So,
You don't. I mean, if you ever see one in the wild, take a picture.
Yeah, and you know that person must have a pretty crazy collection. and they have a Crador.
Absolutely. Facts. Moving along. From Hercali. He had a question, Tom, that he posted. Are we witnessing the height of the gray market? What do you guys think?
I think it's a double-edged question. I think, yeah, you're seeing it because there was a peak clearly, and we're seeing some stuff start to drop off. But the minute new stuff comes out, it's going right back up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we haven't seen the height yet.
I don't think we've seen the height either.
I don't. I think you're gonna see.
Yeah, it's always gonna be more.
I mean, listen, you're talking about opening of like not an exhibition model. You're talking about like a physical left hand GMT.
Upside down GMT, not left hand.
I was trying to be politically correct. Upside down GMT.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like once that piece like surfaced, $80,000.
Yeah.
The watch retails for 10. Chill out.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? And like we always talk about it all the time. You know, we go to these auction houses and we speak to the guys at at the Sotheby's and the Phillips of the worlds and those kind of things. And like when we see the timepieces that these guys acquire, and just like where they open at, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. So it does merit those opportunities for people to go ahead and say, you know what, charge $80K. Somebody gonna buy it.
That's crazy.
It's like,
it's
you know
insane.
What, dude? I ain't mad at you.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at you.
I don't think we've seen the height of it. I think we've just seen the start. Yes. I don't think that the height is an OP going for 40.
Well,
yeah, I don't think that
I think
the ceiling. I think the ceiling's behind the glass.
Think about technology.
I think we will see a peak. I just don't think we're close yet.
But listen, you still have people that can buy watches on Bitcoin. You have so many companies and so many brands that are opening up to say, you know what, we'll accept crypto, we'll accept this, we'll do NFTs, we'll do this, we'll do that. So right now, because everything is so new, you know what I mean, this money isn't necessarily printed. Before,
I mean, I've used crypto to buy a watch.
Yeah.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, so now you're not even printing money anymore. Now you're just like, just putting dollars on a screen.
Absolutely.
Is different.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the height of it yet. I think what the way I always kind of judge it too is by like the popularity of our podcast. And what we offer being as niche as it is and as new as it is, I think can directly correlate to what's happening in the industry.
Yes.
And I think it will get there very soon, but I don't think we've seen the peak yet. Mm-hmm. I think we're hitting a lull, a little bit of a spell. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to bump up. I think in all actuality, and I was talking to someone about this recently, I think it's going to mirror sort of what you see with crypto.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact we have not seen the peak in crypto.
No.
Like everyone's freaking out right now because it's plummeted. But in all actuality, you better be out there buying.
Yes.
Seriously. Because it's going right back up.
Yeah.
And as volatile as this thing is, it's going to shoot up to heights you've never seen or thought about before.
For sure.
And I know we know quite a few people. We have friends who are crypto millionaires.
Yes.
That are still telling us, buy.
Yes.
Buy.
Yes.
I had one friend who said, I asked him, I said, what should I be buying? He told me explicitly, he said, buy this, this, and this. And I was like, okay. He was like, it's 1777 again. And you have the option to buy the US dollar.
Yep.
Buy it.
Yep.
I was like, whoa.
It's like mining.
You know what I'm saying?
Gold. It's mining for gold.
Yeah. So I don't think we've seen the peak. I think it's close, but I think peak is like, I don't think peak is an OP selling for 20,000. I think a peak is OP selling for 6 figures.
Well, it did at one point.
No,
6
it
figure
didn't.
OP, no.
Yeah, remember it was 111 on
It ain't sell for that.
It didn't sell for that.
No, I didn't sell for that. But I'm saying
I think the highest they got for it was like close to 50.
Yeah, probably 50. Yeah, probably sold at 50.
So didn't one sell for 70 in an auction?
70 no, it didn't.
Close to 80, I think.
I think maybe we have to check that.
I think it was a turquoise 41.
But I mean, that person that did that is
stupid.
I just saw one recently. The guy put on a Jube.
Oh yeah,
he put on a Jubilee. I was like, "That's a turquoise OP." He's like, "Yeah."
He was like, "Yeah," and you were like, "No."
I was like, "On a Jube?" He was like, "Yeah."
No.
like,
boy.
okay.
That's hilarious.
It looked terrible.
We do not want him at
Yes.
the next Conflecto.
But shout out to him. As long as he's happy, that's all that matters. We're nearing completion. We'll see if we can get a couple more questions out. I want to hit this question up real quick from our friend at Dr. Sterling. If you could pick any watch to give your son on his wedding day, what would it be and why?
So,
You got it planned out already.
Electricians.
from my personal collection, I have something in the works. That's also en route.
I know what this is. We just talked about this.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
So
okay.
if it were to be, and I plan to share this on the show, it would be that. Of course, it would be a Rolex. Wedding day would have to be a Rolex. It would be a classic timepiece. It would be a date just. It would be either a president or just time and date.
If you could pick any watch, even something you don't own, you still go with Rolex?
If it's any watch that I could choose, I would go with I would go with a Patek 5119, 6119, Calatrava. I do any perpetual, just like a beautiful dress watch, maybe even a Gondolo.
Gondolo's fire.
I think I would probably do a Gondolo.
Okay. Respect.
If I could hand something down and price didn't matter and I owned it, Patek.
What about you?
Cartier Crash.
You're a nice father.
I'm picking the Crash.
I'm not giving my son a Cartier Crash unless I have to.
The whole thing is that
On my deathbed.
Yeah. Get this when I go.
if I gift him a Crash, I
Sure.
can say, let me hold that.
No.
Yeah, I'm taking it back if I want.
Yeah, you could do. I'm not
doing
giving.
it.
I'm not putting in a position to ask for it
doing
back. Staying right
doing
here
it.
with me
Yeah.
till I
I'm
go.
doing it.
Respect to you though.
Also, it's like I would wear a Crash if I got married. So I think the whole thing is in fantasy land. If I'm getting married, as much as I love Patek, I want a Crash on.
I want to crash too. Crash
And
is my grail
I
watch.
think it could be this super like romanticized, like amazing idea. Like, oh my God,
Sure.
my son wants an homage to his dad. He wants to wear a Crash on his wedding day because I did it. You know, that's.
I would
I think that's cute.
for me, on his wedding day, I would want to give my son something that I wore.
Yeah.
Something that meant a lot to me. And I had been thinking about this question, and I think it would be my vintage Tudor oyster date because my wife gifted that to me. And so that would be a piece I could never part with unless it were to hand it down. And it's a beautiful timepiece. I love it. I wear it all the time. I do wear it to functions. It's a lot of fun. Strikes up conversation because it's a big rose Tudor.
Yeah.
And people are not used to seeing that. They usually know it for the shield. But you see the big rose Tudor and then you see the Rolex crown.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what is that? That would be the one that I would give to him on his wedding day, because of how badly I wanted that watch.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the coolest watches to have in a vintage collection.
Wasn't
Just
it your first vintage watch too?
No, it wasn't my first vintage watch, but it was like my second or third. But it was the one I always wanted in terms of vintage watches. Like, that is a watch that I could only part with under that circumstance. Like, here, this, you're gonna wear this for your wedding, and you can hold it down.
Yeah.
So that would be the one for me.
Nice.
Yeah. Continuing on, our friend Ricardo had a really good question. Ricardo said, a year from today, where do you see yourselves with the podcast?
Take the lead, Captain.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. It's something I think about all the time. I think first I see us with way more followers, listeners, viewers. I see us having executed our own watch meets. I see us being a force in the industry, big players.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I want to be.
Absolutely.
I see us continuing to use our platform as a space to highlight and uplift underrepresented voices, to tell stories, to focus on the people that own these watches.
Yes.
I think that's kind of like what's unique about us that's unfolded over, it's been 7-8 months since we've been doing this. It hasn't been very, very long. And we're at the point where we're nearing 20,000 streams. So 20,000 views, listens over the last 8 months, which might not be a lot to some people, but is a hell of a lot to us and means a lot to us.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we're very appreciative, even with all the questions that people have sent in. But, you know, my thing for Wrist Check Podcast was always just based around us and our friends having a safe space where we could express our affection for timepieces without judgment.
Yes.
And for those that watch too, you know, I mean, I think this is a hobby that we all love and we share and can be incredibly serious. And it's fun to be serious, but it's also fun to have fun.
Yeah.
And I think as long as a year from now we're still having fun, I consider it a success. Hopefully, and I believe we will be generating more revenue to where we can do this full time. That's the dream a year from now.
Yes.
That this is a full-time job.
Yes.
Speaking to you all. But at the very least, if we are having a good time and our viewers and listeners are having a good time and enjoying it, it's worth it.
Yes.
It's worth it. And I think some of the stuff that we've seen so far, to me, has been incredibly eye-opening in understanding the impact that we are making. You know, when I have friends, colleagues, who thought that this wasn't a space that they were invited to participate in, now reaching out to me and saying, hey, I just purchased my first timepiece.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Yes, it does.
You know what I'm saying? To be able to get some of the guests that we've had on our show in such a short time. We haven't even been doing this a year. I'm so appreciative that people recognize and appreciate what it is that we bring to the table. It makes me feel really good. So as long as we're in that space and we're continuing to push the envelope there and craft our own narrative, I'm happy. I'm proud. But yeah, hopefully we'll be a big player. Maybe Hodinky will give us a follow. I love that they like our photos,
Like the photos,
and
watch the
videos,
stories,
but
don't push that button.
but you know,
crazy.
you can give us a follow, Hodinky. we would appreciate it. We love you guys and what you do, and I'm not saying that just to cause any, but
It's okay.
Truthfully speaking,
Stir it
like,
up a little bit.
they are the big players in this field, and to be acknowledged means a lot. And I think one of the things that we're looking for is just more acknowledgement, and we're getting it. So I can't be spoiled, right? Like, we've been in a situation for the last couple of weeks where, like, we're having conversations with, like, Sotheby's and Phillips and AP, and they're like, come out, hang out with us, engage with us, talk to us. We want to meet you. We love what you're doing.
Yes.
And I would have never imagined that all of this would have happened so soon. So super appreciative. More of that. I hope we continue to inspire more people to participate in the hobby. It's a lot of fun. You learn a lot. And we've met so many great people. And that's been like the icing on the cake is these relationships and these friendships that I now have. You know, even meeting like John. You know what I'm saying? Like John watched the podcast and like came to visit me at my job and was like, yo, I just want to meet you. And like, and we talked and hit off, and now we're like best friends. Like we get lunch together all the time. We fucking trade watches. Like that's my guy.
He ditched me for dinner last night.
Well, John is a single man, and he's got
he's the pride.
He's got to play the field. You know, and then like our relationship with Ricardo, with Jason from Complecto, having met Tiffany and Nora from Hodinky, the people we've met from Phillips, Beth T, Dana, Richard, you know what I'm saying? Like the list goes on. We've met so many incredible people in the last 8 months and made so many connections that I'm having the time of my life.
Yes.
So, you know, if anything, it's, you know, bigger and better things, but also like a continuation of the experience. Like it's been really, really good. Mm-hmm. So that's my take on it. At least that was very long-winded. I apologize.
Rashawn and I second that motion.
Harry went ahead and took the sucked the air out of the room.
Oh no.
Like, yeah,
nice. But yeah, so shout out to Ricardo, and I think we might have room for one more question. You guys can look through the list and choose the question. I've chose all the questions tonight. Which one do you guys want to pick?
I gotta give a shout out.
This will be the last question.
I gotta give a shout out to my guy John McClain.
Shout out to John McClain. So we both know John. We've known John for years. John is a friend of ours, based out of Louisville, Kentucky. He was in town recently too. Unfortunately, I did not get to get dinner or drinks with him, but he is getting married and has a wedding coming up, and I will be in attendance, so I'll get to see him then. But John hit us with a question, and he asked, "What's a reliable source for vintage watches?" I would rephrase that question. I said, "Who is a reliable source?"
Yes.
For vintage watches, because it is about who you know.
Yes. That might be unanimous, folks.
I think it is. I think
the answer to that question is Get Bezel.
Shout out to Get Bezel.
Shout out to Get Bezel.
So Get Bezel is a new company that's popped up on the scene. They are sort of the StockX of watches. If you know anything about StockX and how important they are to streetwear and sneaker culture, the way StockX works is if you're a seller, you have a pair of highly coveted sneakers or an accessory, someone purchases it for a price that's agreed upon. The product is sent to StockX. They verify that it's authentic. The money sits in escrow. And then once it's authenticated, there's a swap. And so this is what Get Bezel is doing essentially. We know some of these guys. I met them while I was in Miami hanging out with Bryn. And I think it's a brilliant idea. It kind of it builds upon what Chrono 24 was doing. And I've purchased watches on Chrono 24, which is cool. I've had pleasant experiences. Mm-hmm. But it takes it a step further in that the third-party company or platform that you're using is part of the process of verifying that the watch is authentic and real, which adds an extra level of security.
Yes.
So I would check out Get Bezel, personally. I think Watchbox is another one. We have some friends there.
Yep, shout out to Watchbox.
So Watchbox is cool. They don't really sell a whole lot of vintage watches, mostly modern pieces.
Yes.
But they do have some older pre-owned pieces.
A person that, sorry to cut you off, but
go ahead.
A person that I respect in the vintage watch space too, and I know the three of us do actually, is Eric Wind.
Facts. Yes.
Wind Vintage.
If you want to purchase a vintage watch and you've got some coin to spend and you want it to be super verified, you want that stamp of approval that means something, you are going to purchase a watch from Eric Wynn.
Eric
Wynn's
Wynn is
stamp of
insane.
approval means a lot.
Yeah,
He's top tier, incredibly knowledgeable about all things vintage, incredibly passionate about vintage watches. And to say you purchased a watch from Eric is a big deal.
Yeah, that gives you points.
It does give you points. So Eric Wynn is someone I would definitely reach out to if you were looking for a vintage piece. And to be honest, he is one of the people that will have the highest success rate in sourcing whatever your request is.
Everything he has is like, it's either original owner or the absolute best condition
Facts.
anything that you're looking
Hands
for.
down.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Sure.
None whatsoever. So this has been a lot of fun. This was new for us. I hope you all out there in TV land and radio land enjoyed this. For those questions we did not answer tonight because of time, we will go back after this episode airs and we will answer your questions in the comment section.
Yes.
So we will get back at you. None to fear. We are here. And we appreciate you all. Obviously, we couldn't get to all of the questions. This episode is titled 21. It wasn't exactly 21. It was way less. But we anticipated that because we knew this a lot of this stuff would spark up some debate and some conversation, which was intended. And we hope you enjoyed it. You can find us at Wrist Check Pod on Instagram. You can also find us on Spotify at Wrist Check Podcast, audio and visual. We're on TikTok. We're also on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and you can watch our videos on YouTube at Wrist Check Podcast. So this has been fantastic, and I hope you've enjoyed it. My name is Perry.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Rashawn.
And we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.
Deuces.